Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, karibu, and thank you as always for showing so much love and subscribing. I absolutely love you guys, and yeah, I promised you this video. This is based on the pregnancy update video I did, and I mentioned that I want to push this time around. I got great feedback on that video. I mentioned a doula, I mentioned raspberry leaf tea, I mentioned dates, and I mentioned wanting to push, and quite a number of you are like, explain. So this is Ciru.
Hi, my name is Shir. I'm so happy to be here. I'm a childbirth educator. I'm also a doula and a lactation specialist. So I support mothers during their pregnancy, during labor, and then thereafter at home.
Wow, and she's very passionate.
I am.
I've known Ciru for like maybe a year and a half now.
Yeah.
And she is my doula. Now that I can unveil that now, because I mentioned in the other video, I have a doula. Yeah. So I thought I'd bring her here just to talk a little bit about VBAC. Quick chat, and then we'll also do maybe one at most 2 exercises that can get you ready to push. I think that's what it is.
Yes.
So let's start with VBAC. What is it? What does it mean? What does it stand for?
Okay, so a VBAC is a vaginal birth after cesarean section. So your first birth was through cesarean section, and then now the second or third time you want to try to have a vaginal birth after a cesarean section. So that's what
VBAC. Who can and who can't go in for a VBAC?
So most of the times doctors want it to be your second time trial. It used to be once a CS, always a CS.
Right.
Yeah. So that has changed. So if you had a CS for your first, and now the second time you want to try, they usually say you'd rather try for your second, but not do 3 other cesarean sections, and then the 4th baby is the one you want to try to do a VBAC.
Okay.
Because of course the scar weakens the uterine muscles. Okay. So who can have a VBAC? A VBAC can be any mom who's had a cesarean and had a lower segment scar. So these days they do that.
Yes.
Our mothers probably had the vertical.
Exactly.
Now they do that, the lower segment scar. Those are usually good candidates. If you have a health problem, diabetes, high blood pressure, you are not a good candidate.
Right.
You're overweight, not a good candidate. As long as it's above a year since you had that first baby,
okay,
then it should be fine. Preferably doctors say 2 years or 3 years.
Wow.
But you can still attempt. So it's actually a trial of labor after cesarean section. So it's called a TOLAC. Oh, we're having a patient and we're going through TOLAC. That's trial of labor after cesarean. So you ideally want to find out from your doctor that he's had maybe such a number of patients who he's allowed to have a trial of labor after he had the cesarean. Yeah. And how many of those actually had a successful VBAC?
Okay, it just gives you more confidence in the doctor.
You know he's supportive.
Right.
He's supportive for VBACs, and he encourages natural labor. And you know he's just not going to change on you and say, Janet, I don't think we should, and I don't think you can, so let's go to theater. You definitely need a supportive doctor.
You know, that kind of makes me a little sad, because I think that's what some of the people have said in the comment section. So Sheila Kosgei Koimor, I really hope I've said your name right. I'm planning to push my second baby, but I'm scared. Most hospitals resort to the knife once you've had a scar. Does a doula come in handy, or a kawaida gynae will do? So maybe you can answer that as well.
So a doula comes in handy all of the time, whether you're having a cesarean section or vaginal birth. Now, whether your doctor will do, you need to be sure that the doctor you have chosen is actually supportive of you to have a vaginal birth after cesarean section. Because if your doctor is not supportive, either you choose to have a different doctor who is cheering you on to do it, or your doctor is just going to take you under the knife. And they scare you. They tell you your baby's going to die if you do it. There's so many risks that can happen. Your scar will open. Really, it's like 1% of women who actually have a uterine rupture, that the uterus will rupture. And those are the ones who had that vertical cut. The cut,
Yes,
but the ones who have a lower segment,
like I have a lower segment cut,
the risk, the success rate for VBAC is 60 to 80%.
Okay.
But you need to be allowed to go through labor. But if your doctor decides he's going to take you in, unfortunately, you go in, or you choose. Our bodies were designed to birth. They really were designed to birth. And as long as you're going in with a positive mind, Janet, and saying, you know what, I'm going to be positive about this. I'm going to depend on my body. It knows what to do, and I'm going to be successful. And you're exercising, and you're eating right, and your positioning is good, and you're sleeping and resting. You have positive thoughts in your mind, and you're getting the right information in terms of how to prepare for the birth. Then you have no problem.
What's the definition of a good doula?
Okay. Now this woman is there for you, at your beck and call, supporting you. She's your cheerleader, telling you, you know what to do. She allows you and shows you how to support your baby, how to ensure they find their way out faster, how to ensure that you cope when you're in labor, in terms of breathing, in terms of your positioning, in terms of, look, how does she massage you? What are the tools, tricks, and skills she's bringing into labor? So you need a doula who has the experience. Okay. Yeah. And a doula who's really passionate about it. Most doulas are all passionate about it. Right. You just need to find one who's a good fit. Okay. Because you can't get along with everybody. That's true. You end up... I mean, it's such a personal experience. Yes. So in terms of accessibility, are the hospitals the ones to recommend, or how do you go about finding them? Accessibility, you've got to research. We are there. We've got maybe 10 of us who are working in Nairobi who are actually trained as doulas. There are some midwives who are working as doulas but are not trained. The difference between a midwife and a doula, the doula focuses on the art of birth, your positioning and things like that, while the midwife is more the science. How is the baby's heart rate? You know, are they positioned right? You know, how are they coming out? All those things. But in terms of massaging you, your position, you know, maybe raise one leg up, squat like this, lean this way, breathe this way, they don't really focus much on that, and the doula does that. I'm glad you clarified that, the difference between a doula and a midwife. Yeah, there's a cost implication, but you cannot compare that cost with you going for a cesarean section, and you can avoid it if you have a doula. Research has proved and documented that women who have doulas during their labor and delivery experience reduce their chances of going for a CS by about 40 to 50%. That's huge. It saves you a lot of money, and at the same time you get a positive birth experience. When you remember your birth, you're like, oh, that was so awesome, because of the support that you got. Yeah. World Health Organization are now saying just having a positive birth experience really affects the well-being of the mother and the child even after birth. Makes sense. We've talked about the mind, we've talked about just being, but someone who's maybe just found out that they're pregnant, what are the ways, maybe your 3 tips in trying to prepare for a natural birth? Okay, for one, you've got to attend a childbirth class, because there you're able to understand what you're up against. You get to hear positive stories about birth. It reduces your anxiety around the whole area of birth. Even during a childbirth class, your partner gets to understand how to support you. Yeah. Okay. When do you start attending the childbirth classes, ideally? Ideally, it's from 28 weeks. Okay. Number 2, you got to exercise. You've got to eat well. Your diet, it doesn't have to be going to lift weights, but walking, swimming, going for yoga, and resting as much as possible, and then hire a doula, because with a doula, she's going to support you to ensure that you have the birth that you desire for yourself. I love those tips. I think as we wind up, it's not that I am trying to discredit CS. I really am not. I had one. I do believe though that it's important to prioritize a natural birth. However, to each his own. I just feel like this time round, I want the birthing experience. And I said it in my previous video, I don't want to go through surgery again. Yeah. So I'm hoping and praying that you are successful. That I am successful. And so Shiro and I will really start to get into it towards the end of August. I know that's what she told me, because it's about a month away from my due date, and I'm just really looking forward to it. You guys probably have a ton of questions. Yes. I will link Shiro's details in the description box below so that you can reach out to her. You have such a wealth of information. Thank you so much. Welcome. So I guess we can do maybe one thing. I don't know. What exercise? Something that you think is good for preparing for. I think even just the way you're sitting. I think yay! Sitting. Okay. The tailor sitting, it opens up your pelvis really well. You know, you're sitting like this, and it opens up your pelvis. And try not to slouch, go back that way. Sit up, and you tend to get this nice curve of your back, and it opens you up. So you're trying to adapt your pelvis to being nice, wide open, and not always so tight. Okay. And then we tend to slouch a lot when we're sitting. Right. Sitting on our tailbone, and we're supposed to be sitting up on our sits bone. So you you want to align your pelvis to how it's supposed to be and not slouch. Sit up. That's fantastic advice. One other tip? One other tip is going on your hands and knees. So you go on your hands and knees like that. Actually, a wife's tale says mothers who are always on their hands and knees scrubbing the floor and doing things tend to have a baby who's in a very, very good position. So let me just interrupt, Shiro. That's what I was told. I started my Lamaze classes like a week before I had my son.
And she was like, all this time, why do you think women who are constantly doing that kind of work,
yes,
you know, push? And so now I'm being intentional about that. So that's really good advice.
Yes, and especially if you feel your baby is moving quite off, like a lot, you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know what's going on, baby's moving so much. Get down on your hands and knees, because that helps your belly to fall off a little bit, takes the pressure off your back, and at the same time gives your baby a lot of room to move as much as they want to move.
Okay.
And get into the right position.
Can you do this every day? Because someone might have a 9 to 5 where they sit on the office chair.
And you can arc your back, push your pelvis out, and then push it in like you're looking down.
Let me see if I can.
That way.
Yeah.
And then do it like that. If you feel pushing your bum out is actually causing you a little bit of lower back pain, just stay that way, and then push it in again, and then out. You can do this for like 5 minutes. If you get tired, get down on a pillow and rest until you feel your baby has settled as they're trying to move around. It's perfect for also lower back pain. If you feel, oh gosh, I feel so tired, I feel achy, get on your hands and knees, and that will help a lot in positioning your baby right.
Oh, I love it. I think that's where we will end today's video. Like I said, I know you guys have a ton of questions, so you can feel free to reach out to Shiro. Thank you so much as always for watching. Thank you for your interest in wanting to learn and know more. And if you have other topics that you want Shiro to come and address, you know, comment down below and I'll definitely look for her so that she can address those. But thank you guys as always so much. Bye.
Bye.
Subscribe. Talk soon. Bye.